Rose Martin, and today I'd like to talk with you about dying, the process of dying, and the spiritual activity that goes on when we die. Now, I had a wonderful experience just recently with my mother passing. I was able to be with her in her last week of life, and this opened my eyes to how we get from here to there. The Lord showed it to me, and I want to share it with you. I want to show you that there's nothing to be afraid of and that there's a purpose and a plan for everything, even the time you die. Now, the one amazing thing, in addition to other amazing things that I discovered, is that the person who is dying, actively dying, on a natural death, and any other really, has more control over their death, the time of death, than you would think. This is an amazing thing. There's a process that goes on, an interchange between the spiritual and still the living. A time to get accustomed to where you're going, and a time to make amends from your life on earth. So I'd like to share with you what happened on my mother's death, and hopefully you'll be blessed, and you will have courage and hope and joy, and make it a special time for you and your loved ones, whichever one goes first. But know that it's all in God's hand, and it is a plan for your life. And the thing is that the hardest part of the dying, they say the dying is just stepping out of here and going there. The first place that believers stop is heaven or paradise. And there they have their loved ones, the houses, the homes, the reminiscing and all that stuff, and the healing from this life. But it was such a spiritual, amazing thing. And the things that I learned from this are, one, this life review. This life review that happens is your life. And one of the biggest things that you see is, and the verses kept coming to me. And the one verse when I found about this life review was about there's a point where a man wants to die and then the judgment. And then it was like, this was like a judgment. I don't know if this was the judgment. I don't think this was the judgment. This is a judgment of your life. You judge your life. At this time of the life review, you find out, how the word says that every idle word will be judged. And this is where you see what your words have done. The words that have gone to blessings, or the words and deeds that you've done that have hurt people. And the hurt that you see that you've done to people and how that spread hurts your heart so bad. When you discover how your actions have hurt people, that's the judgment. That's the pain. And that's the thing that we should concentrate on this time, on this side, before that last moment. They say that you should keep a short list, keep your accounts short. And this is why we need to have forgiveness and love, because if we don't deal with it here, we're going to deal with it there. Every word is going to be judged. So if the Lord is convicting you at any time for any relationship, this is what you need to do. And is to ask for forgiveness and make amends. And then the verse that now we see through a mirror dimly, and then we will know how we are truly known face to face in 1 Corinthians. And that's what was happening to my mom. She was starting to see her life, the purpose of things. All her suffering was being rewarded and revealed as to why. So that verse came to be. And then through the whole process, the most important verse was that verse about love in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians. These three remain: faith, hope, and love. And by the end, there was such love in that room. It was a contrast because it was morbid, this almost dead body here. But yet, things were going on. I kept saying, I think she's being uploaded little by little up to heaven or something. Little by little, she's being uploaded. There's so much going on in the background while this body is just laying there, not able to move or anything. And then you think about how helpless a person is at that time. I am so thankful my sister and I were there. So helpless. And, but of course, God is with you. God is keeping you. Angels, the Spirit. There's a whole team on that side helping. So you don't need to fear. You don't need to fear. The hardest part is knowing you're dying because you don't want to leave. And then this life review. But once you pass, it's wonderful. And this isn't the final, though. You're in paradise and all that. But then eventually there comes some point where you totally, I mean, she could come back. People have near death experiences and all that stuff, but we didn't ask for her to come back. We let her go. This is another thing. We helped her. We encouraged her. We told her, Mother, we are fine. We love you so much. We don't want you to go, but we know you've got to go. You've got to go. And we're going to be okay. We're going to take care of each other. And we're going to remember you forever. We comfort her like that because people that are dying, they're afraid too. They don't know where they're going. And this is where the faith comes in. And this is where the angels and the loved ones and even the pets and all that, whoever you need to come to help you make this transition is coming. And that's the most wonderful thing. And that you're left with love. The amazing thing, too, was that my mother could control when she left. I just couldn't believe, like she was still there. And I know the last time we turned her and got her ready before I left, for my sister and her to have her time together, my mother, when we turned, it was towards me because we were helping her. It was like a scary, that's one sound she would make. I guess she felt like she was falling off the bed when we were. So she was still there, you see, but she didn't say a word anymore and didn't anything, but the spiritual activity was going on. So when we were turning, she looked me in the eyes, like almost to say, thank you. Like, because I arranged this thing for her, my sister, and she's like, I felt she loved me. But I didn't have much other except all this spiritual. I just knew it through various little things. And the things she said before she died. But anyhow, so it was a wonderful experience, life-changing. And then I also learned that we all agree to come into this world together with God, the councils up there, elders. We agree on what we're going to do and come into this earth and accomplish. And make an agreement to come. And then when that time is over and we've done it, then we're leaving. So we have to remember that we are here for a purpose, and we're going to be here as long as that purpose, and then we go. Because there's other things. As My Life in Heaven thing talks about, there's places to learn, there's libraries, there's other planets and galaxies and all that stuff for us in our spiritual realm to be able to travel to. So there's so much going on over there. So anyhow, I just want to encourage you that when your loved ones go, it's very, very sad. But you have to know that they are well taken care of and they have fulfilled their time on this earth. And now it's time for us to go on. When I prayed afterwards, not right away, but I prayed for my mother, of course, and the family, but I also prayed for my inheritance to come, my spiritual inheritance. And I encourage you all, yourselves, we have inheritances that are not just money, but they are gifts and talents, abilities that we can ask for to be given to us. And this is one thing that I encourage everybody to do and finish out that part. So that is the dying story. When we come in, we take our first breath, and then through labored breaths and life reviews and transferring in the spirit to be prepared to leave the body, we leave the body and our final breath is out, and we're done here. And that is the process of life and a natural death that I was able to experience. My father made me realize that there's something after this, that I got to change my life because I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't at that time. My life was changed because of my dad's sudden death. I learned about Jesus, gave my life to him, studied the Word for all these years, did that heaven presentation. So my head's been in the clouds for a long time. And then 18 years after that, now my mom died. So I feel I've got a full picture. And I'm constantly learning. Now I'm studying about what's going on in heaven and all that stuff. So There's never an end to the frontier of God. But I just want to encourage you. Death is not a surprise to God. Even the people that die suddenly, they have their life review in heaven. In that first paradise stage, they'll be going through it too. And so the only thing with that, it's not natural. So the people that are left behind have a harder time. When it's gradual and somebody's old and all that, you kind of understand. But when they're young and sudden and all that, it's a shock. But it's the same thing. Some even say you plan how you're going to die. So, and even if you don't, God knows when that is. So it's not a surprise either way that it happens. So I pray that that encourages you, that you are blessed, and that you live this life right now to your utmost, because that's what will make the dying process on this side easier. The dying process of your life review, when you look at everything you've done, people that you've impacted for good and for evil, that will be revealed to you. You want your account short, and our God is always ready to forgive. Forgiveness, forgiving yourself, asking God forgiveness, and forgiving others is a very big component. And then love. Forgiveness and love, the two biggest things that I will take out of this. And then, of course, God is always there with us. So I pray that you've been blessed by this. If you'll check my website, I've got some prayers on there, some scriptures to comfort the people that are dying and to build faith in yourself of what's going on. And before people leave in these kind of hospice situations, if they don't know God, if they don't know His love when they get there, atheists, anyone like that, by the time they leave, they know Him. God is there. He's with your loved ones now. And I feel to say also for forgiveness. If you've never had a chance to forgive someone that has already passed, you can still forgive them. Forgiveness is something that in your intent and in your heart, you can do anytime and take that off of your slate and theirs, that you have a clean heart with that person. You can always forgive. So anyhow, well, God bless you. Check my website for resources to help your time with your loved one. We need to die with dignity. This turned into a medical situation where if the medicines don't work, there's nothing else to do. Well, there's a whole spiritual side. And I encourage you to live that side now so that when you get to that time, you'll have my mother, they said it was one of the most peaceful times. She just lay there. I think it was just my sister. She and my sister had to say goodbye and realize everything's going to be okay. So a few things happen besides that, but I'll share that some other time. But I thank you for listening, and I pray that you've been blessed.